You know what's worse than showing up to Thanksgiving dinner with your ex-wife, her new husband, and the ghost of 4 years' worth of suppressed sarcasm? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I brought the cheese ball. Not just any cheese ball, the legendary one. Horseradish, jalapeno, sharp cheddar with a smoked paprika crust. The kind of thing that makes kids cheer and grown men sweat. I made it the night before with surgical precision and a little too much personal satisfaction, thinking, let's see if Doug's artisanal cranberry glaze can compete with this beast. Doug, that's my ex-wife's husband, regional manager at some nameless tech-adjacent company, the kind of guy who wears polos with a Bluetooth clipped on even during dinner. Thinks sarcasm is a virus and smiles like he's rehearsing for a corporate headshot. 4 years ago, Rachel, my ex, left me for him. Said she needed more ambition in her life. I was an engineer back then. Still am. But now with better biceps and better boundaries. I hadn't been back to Thanksgiving at my parents' since the divorce. Couldn't stomach the idea of watching Doug carve turkey while Rachel played Stepford wife, and our kids, Joy and Owen, sat between two worlds trying to pretend everything was fine. But this year was different. This year, I had Sarah. Sarah is a nurse, the kind who works double shifts and still remembers to bring home your favorite donut. Her laugh is real, her hugs are tighter than an ER schedule, and she's got a daughter, Lily, who calls me Mr. Cheeseball because of one cookout where I accidentally melted cheddar on everything I touched. Anyway, Sarah was meeting. Me there later with Lily. I decided to face the past first, like a man. Or like a man with a giant foil-wrapped sphere of dairy-based defiance. I showed up dressed casual, but calculated. Dark jeans, fitted navy sweater, brown boots. Just enough to say I work out, but I don't talk about it. My dad opened the door and gave me that bear hug that says, "You're still my boy, no matter what kind of hell you've been through." My mom teared up like she does when old songs play on the radio, and then I heard the fake laughter from the dining room. Doug was already there. "Michael!" he bellowed, as if we were fraternity brothers. "Look at you, man, trimmed up. Did you switch careers to personal training or something?" "Nah," I said with a polite smile. "Still an engineer, just figured out how to optimize my personal hardware." He laughed too loudly. Rachel glanced over from her spot by the deviled eggs, eyes scanning me head to toe like she was trying to match my current version with the one she left in sweatpants and emotional confusion. I handed the cheese ball to my mom and kissed her cheek. "You might want to hide this from Doug. It has flavor." The dining table was the same one I'd carved initials into when I was 10, the same creaky leg, the same ugly green ceramic gravy boat shaped like a cornucopia. Comforting, in a strange way, but the air was tight, like the tension of a group photo where no one wants to be touching. Owen came flying in first, taller than I remembered, braces gleaming like medieval armor. Joy followed, rolling her eyes in a way that said, "I'm a teenager now, but I still love you, secretly." They both tackled me like I was Santa with a backpack of iPhones. "Did you bring it?" Owen whispered. "Kid," I said, unzipping the cooler bag, "you think I'd show up empty-handed?" They ran off to the kitchen yelling about the cheese of destiny, which prompted Doug to say something about saturated fats and the importance of macro ratios. I took a seat across from him. He sat like a king at a folding card table, elbows wide, voice louder than necessary. "So, Mike, tell me, still working with those circuit things? Man, I don't know how you keep up. It's all AI this, blockchain that. I'm in charge of a regional team now, so lots of moving parts. Strategy, leadership, forecasting." "Sounds stressful," I said. "Must be exhausting pretending it matters." He blinked, laughed again. Rachel sipped wine. I spent most of the afternoon avoiding eye contact and engaging in subtle revenge, like loudly complimenting my mom's gravy just as Doug began explaining his dry brining technique, or getting Joy to tell the table how I taught her to solder a blinking LED heart for her science fair project while Doug blinked like a confused owl. But the best moment, right as we were sitting down to eat, the front door opened, and there she was. Sarah, in a burgundy sweater dress that made time stop, with Lily holding her hand, cheeks pink from the cold. My mom rushed to greet them like they were long lost. Family. My dad gave Lily a high five. The kids cheered. Doug looked confused. Rachel froze, like someone had hit pause. Her wine glass didn't make it to her lips. She stared for a split second too long before forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sarah slid in beside me at the table, and Lily squeezed between Joy and Owen like she'd always been there. "This the famous cheese ball?" Sarah asked, grinning. "It's the one," I said, "only mildly weaponized." Dinner was, surprisingly, normal after that. Joy kept making Lily giggle. Owen stole crescent rolls. My mom asked Sarah about night shifts, and Dad told Lily embarrassing stories about me electrocuting myself in 6th grade. And Rachel? She watched, quietly. Not angry, not bitter, just quiet. Doug made one more attempt at bonding. Something. About golf simulators and business travel. I just looked at him and said, "Doug, you ever wonder why no one ever asks you to bring the cheese?" I noticed it in the kitchen, of all places. Rachel was leaning against the counter, swirling her wine like she was trying to hypnotize herself. The light caught her face just right, and for the first time in years, I saw it. Not the perfect makeup or the carefully styled waves. Not the too white smile or the flattering necklace Doug probably picked out with the help of a salesgirl named Brittany. I saw the tired. The corners of her mouth held the shape of someone who's been clenching for too long. The shimmer on her eyelids couldn't cover the fact that her eyes didn't shine. Not like they used to. Not like when she'd sneak into my garage at midnight in college just to watch me solder things, pretending to understand the difference between voltage and current. "Can we talk?" she asked, already walking toward the hallway before I could answer. Not a question. A formality I followed. Not because I wanted to, because I could. Because sometimes the high road's paved with curiosity and cheap wine. She stopped by the bookshelf in my father's office, fingers tracing the spine of an old Field and Stream anthology he's never read. "I didn't think you'd come this year," she said. "Neither did I replied. "But the cheese had a calling." She let out a quiet chuckle. That sound used to mean something. Now it just filled space. "I didn't think you'd bring her." "Sarah?" I said, pretending. I didn't hear the loaded tone. "Yeah. Figured it was time." Rachel nodded slowly. "She's sweet." "She's also real," I said, "which is underrated." There was a pause. One of those heavy silences where both people know something's about to fall. "Are you happy, Michael?" she asked, not looking at me. It was the kind of question that used to freeze me up, back when I still wanted her approval or an apology. But this time, I didn't hesitate. "Yeah," I said. "I am." Her lips pressed together like she wanted to smile but didn't trust herself. And then came the quiet confession. "Doug's been working late. A lot. He says it's a new project, regional restructuring or something." I said nothing. "He started buying these shirts," she continued, eyes still on the bookshelf. "Ones I've never seen before. Slim fit, designer labels, expensive." "Maybe he discovered fashion," I offered dryly. Her voice lowered. "He never cared about that before." I waited, let her sit in the quiet. "You think he's cheating?" She looked at me then. Really looked, not like a woman looking at her ex-husband. Like a woman staring down her own past and seeing cracks in her reflection. "I don't know," she whispered, "but sometimes I catch myself wondering if this is how it started with us. Small things, distance, new shirts." I took a breath, choosing my words carefully. Because no matter how many times I imagined this moment, with her vulnerable, maybe even regretful, I didn't want blood. I didn't want revenge. "I guess the difference," I said, "is that I'm not him. And you're not who you were." She blinked fast, nodding slowly. A deep sigh followed. "Well," I added, standing up straighter, "if things ever go to hell, you can always eat the rest of my cheese ball. Word is, it cures poor life choices." She snorted. It wasn't pretty, but it was real. We walked back to the living room without saying much else. Sarah was on the couch with my mom, talking about hospitals and the best local coffee shops. Lily was braiding Joy's hair while Owen tried to teach her how to use the TV remote like a pro. It was like watching puzzle pieces snap into place, except the puzzle wasn't one I ever thought I'd be part of again. It was better. Later, that night, I went to grab my coat from Dad's office and found something I didn't expect. Rachel and Sarah, together, talking. Not in the passive-aggressive, I'm pretending to be polite but secretly measuring your worth way. No, this was different. They were just talking. I stood there for a moment before making myself known, but Sarah caught me before I could even knock. "All good here," she said with a smile. "Just borrowing some estrogen." Rachel gave me a nod. There was no smugness in it, no sarcasm, just something close to peace. On the drive home, with Lily passed out in the back seat holding a half-eaten crescent roll, I asked Sarah what they talked about. "She asked me if I was serious about you," she said. "I told her I'm not the kind of woman who lets someone bring cheese into her life without long-term commitment." I laughed. "That's one way to put it. She also said she hopes you're happy now. That she wasn't sure you ever really were with her." I didn't say anything. "Michael," Sarah said, resting her hand on mine, "I think your ex-wife just realized she dropped something valuable, and you're not where she left it anymore. There's something strangely satisfying about watching a man lose his grip on a facade he spent years polishing." A few weeks after Thanksgiving, Owen let it slip during a FaceTime call. He was showing me a Lego spaceship he built when he casually said, "Oh, and Mom says Doug's staying at the Marriott. Something about a pipe bursting, but like, only in the bedroom." The kid didn't even pause, just kept talking about propulsion systems and laser turrets while my brain tried to wrap itself around the phrase "only in the bedroom." I didn't comment. I just smiled, made the appropriate spaceship noises, and logged it for later. Then Joy chimed in. "She's been cooking weird stuff lately, like, she tried making that cheese thing you bring, only it tasted like regret and paprika. That one almost made me spit out my coffee." Apparently, Rachel was trying to recreate the famous horseradish jalapeno cheese ball, the one she always claimed smelled like pain, the same one Doug had practically banned from his open concept, postmodern gut health haven of a kitchen. I didn't ask questions. I just said, "Well, maybe she's found an appreciation for complex flavors." Truth is, I didn't care about Doug's hotel stay or Rachel's dairy-based soul-searching. I'd finally reached a place where her choices didn't drag me into an emotional alley and beat me with nostalgia. I was busy making new memories, like the time Sarah dropped her phone into pancake batter and cursed so colorfully that even Lily took notes. Or when we tried baking gingerbread houses and ended up creating a post-apocalyptic cookie village covered in frosting and shame. We were messy, real, and we fit. So I did what any logical man would do. I proposed. Not the traditional way. I didn't kneel. I didn't rent a hot air balloon or flash mob. No skywriting or beaches at sunset. I bought a dozen of her favorite vanilla cream eclairs, the ones from that overpriced French bakery with the silent baker who always stares like he knows your credit score. I hollowed one out and slid the ring inside, gently, wrapped the box, added a sticky note. "Desserts on me, check the filling." When she opened it, she stared at the box like it might explode. Is this a joke?" she asked, half laughing. "Only if you say no." She started crying, not the dramatic soap opera kind, the kind that sneaks up behind you with a baseball bat and nostalgia, the kind that tastes like relief. She said yes with her mouth full of pastry and tears, which honestly is the only way I ever want to be accepted. We got married 8 months later. Small ceremony, backyard, twinkle lights, my dad grilled steaks. My mom made her famous potato salad with 3 kinds of mustard. Joy wore combat boots with her bridesmaid dress. Owen cried during his speech, then blamed allergies. And Sarah? She looked like home. I posted a picture that night. Us holding eclairs, instead of champagne. Captioned it, "Who knew horseradish and jalapenos could lead to vanilla in vows? Life's weird. I recommend dessert first." Got a few hundred likes. Even my old college roommate commented, "Wait, is this the cheese ball guy story you told me during that camping trip?" Bro, legendary. Yeah, legendary. Weeks passed. Seasons changed. Life moved on like it always does when you stop dragging the past behind you like a broken suitcase. And then, one Saturday afternoon, Lily burst into the living room holding my phone. Joy texted, Mom says they're moving to a new house. But, also, she made your cheese ball again. For no reason. Just, made it. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Yep, she said, bouncing onto the couch. Owen says it tasted better this time, less bitter. He thinks she added honey. Guess she's tweaking the recipe, I said. Sarah walked in with a laundry basket and grinned. Sounds like someone's evolving. I looked out the window. Our yard was a mess of chalk drawings and a plastic kiddie pool full of half-melted ice cubes. A little plastic flamingo stood guard near the mailbox. It was perfect. Well, I said, maybe Rachel's finally learning what not to do with a good thing. Sarah cocked her head. You still mad at her? I shook my head. Nah, not anymore. I think she just didn't know how to handle something that wasn't broken yet. So, she broke it. She nodded slowly. People do that, but you fixed yours. Actually, I said, pulling her close, you fixed it. I just brought the cheese. That night, over dinner, Lily asked why grown-ups always fight and then try to fix things with food. Sarah and I looked at each other, then back at her. Because, sweet pea, I said, food can't lie. It tastes like what you put in it. She wrinkled her nose. So, does that mean your cheese thing tasted like revenge? Sarah laughed. I leaned back and smiled. Not revenge, just closure. With a spicy kick.